Welcome in to I Remember My First Time.
Oh,
Oh, don't be nasty, Jacob. Not that first time.
damn it!
This is a podcast about cinematic awakenings,
Well, I like the sound of that.
where we talk about movies we love with someone who just popped their cherry to that movie.
Ooh.
Jacob, are all the movies we do on this podcast going to be good movies?
God, I hope not.
Do we like shitty movies?
Oh, we love shitty movies. Sometimes even more than good movies.
Are we critics?
Absolutely not.
But do we love movies?
Oh, we love the shit out of movies. And this week's masterpiece, I've never heard of this. It's in the official top 250 narrative feature films on Letterboxd. It's also included in the 1001 movies you must see before you die. It is the 2014 classic Whiplash.
Whew. We're going to have a lot to say about this one.
Oh, there's so much to say. And BJ, spoiler alert, I think this may go down as our best trivia movie we've done so far. And I don't know if it'll be top. There's such good trivia.
That's weird because there's literally 3 characters in this movie.
Right.
Jacob, this podcast isn't your boyfriend's dick.
BJ, tell me it's not you, Elmer Fudd.
I am BJ Leica, and I only became famous because you threw a cymbal at my head.
Joined as always by me, Jacob Beakus. And I just want to say this. Let's milk the cunt.
I do not know what that means.
I don't either, but I'm down for it.
All right, Whiplash, a movie described by Netflix as driven by his demanding music teacher, drummer Andrew is determined to succeed as a jazz musician, even if it destroys his personality.
That was good all the way up until the last word.
I didn't really get that either, but it's what Netflix says, so whatever, man.
Yeah, whatever. Fuck it. You want to do the IMDb and scores first? Or you may do our little IRMFT summary.
Let's do the summary now.
Okay, just I'm going to do this just for David. This is the spoiler alert for all of our listeners. If you haven't seen this movie and you want to see it without listening to the podcast, stop listening now. Whiplash is a movie about what it's like to be a drug addict. Andrew loves drumming, wants to be the best, and will put himself through hell and fucking back at the hands of his music teacher, Fletcher, played by J.K. Simmons. Just like any good drug user, he's always chasing that high no matter what it takes to get there. In this case, being berated by Simmons. If you like good insults that just roll off the tongue, then this movie is for you. Is it realistic? I'll answer that question with a question. Is that why we watch 99% of the movies? I didn't fucking think so. This movie rocks, and if you watch it till the end, you get to basically see a 9-minute drum solo as Andrew basically tells Fletcher to kiss his ass. And this is after that little shit gets his fucker fired from his school.
All right. So with that plot summary, this movie has a 8.5 out of 10 rating on IMDb, 94% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 89% on Metacritic, which is a wildly high Metacritic score.
Yeah. None of that surprises me. What was Rotten Tomatoes again?
94.
Jesus. Okay. I mean, like I said, none of that surprises me. The Rotten Tomatoes surprises me a little bit because there are a number of bad reviews online about this.
That's wild to me.
Most of them are from musicians talking about how it's not realistic. Like, fucking duh. I know music teachers aren't like this.
Yeah, clearly it's a dramatization. Is dramatization. That's
There you
the
go.
word. I speak English good. I'm going to save you guys from the critics review. Roger Ebert didn't review this movie, and let me just summarize all the critics. Movie's great.
Yeah.
There was not one interesting real review that I read, so movie's great, according to the critics.
Cool. I have box office numbers here for everybody. The film was one of the lowest grossing movies ever to be nominated for an Academy Awards for Best Picture.
Say that again?
The film is one of the lowest grossing movies to ever be nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture.
Man, I remember when this movie came out, a lot of people were talking about it. I'm surprised on that.
This isn't a movie that you need to go to the theaters to see, though.
That's true.
The budget was $3.3 million.
So it made, even as little as it grossed, it still made a ton of money.
Oh, it made a ton of money considering how low the budget was. In the US, it made on its opening weekend. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Its opening weekend was $135,000.
And it eventually grossed how much?
The anticipation is real, isn't it? Just like in Whiplash. $13 million in the US and Canada. Worldwide, it brought in $49.4 million.
Whew. Man, we don't get numbers like that very often, especially for a drama? Question mark?
Yeah, this is a drama for sure.
Okay.
For sure a drama. But yeah, one of the lowest grossing movies ever been nominated for the Academy Award for Best Picture. $50 million.
Nice.
Yeah.
Deserves more. I'm going to say it right now. It deserved more.
Yeah, the movie is incredible. Which, speaking of which, on to our movie review, since we can talk about how it deserves more. BJ, you being the virgin, this being your cherry pop movie, what are your thoughts on it?
Before I get into my thoughts, let me just say this right now.
Mm-hmm.
Watching this movie, I had never been more happy in my life to be a lazy, non-driven piece of shit. Because that driven life seems fucking miserable.
Oh, man. Like, no thank you.
Nah, I'm good. First time that fucker yelled at me, I'd have been like, you know what, I'm gonna go be a pharmaceutical sales rep. This drumming thing ain't for me.
I'm gonna go sell used cars. You know what? Bartending's better than this. Fuck this.
Anything's better than this. This seems miserable. But this movie's just wonderful. It is
J.K. Simmons just slapping him, and I'm like, am I rushing? What do you say? Am I rushing or dragging? Rushing. So you do know the fucking difference.
Oh, but this movie's wonderful. I don't know why I'd never seen it. When it was nominated for an Oscar, I was really interested in it. Never got around to watching it. Don't know why. You wanted to do a good movie. I was like, hey, Whiplash is on Netflix. Let's do Whiplash. I want to see it anyway. And I'm so glad I saw this because I absolutely loved this movie. It is such a tightrope to walk to do everything. And it is so cinematically complex the way they just involve you with all, like, to make up for the action and sex and violence and all that, they just pummel you with intensity and passion, and it works so well.
It's so good. I'll basically, what am I trying to say? Just backpack everything that you just said. Like, it doesn't need action, it doesn't need sex, it doesn't need any of that stuff because it pulls you in like no other movie I've seen that doesn't have those things does.
It is so intense for a movie about a 19-year-old drummer trying to make it in music school.
And intense out of nowhere. And it starts off intense and never, ever lets up.
And I don't know who's to credit for. It's probably a combination. I don't know if it's Damien Chazelle, the director. I don't know if it's J.K. Simmons. I don't know if it's Miles Teller. But the intensity and passion in this movie, I've never seen anything like it in a movie before.
Yeah, it's got to be a combination of all three for sure. To try to narrow it down, what'd you like about the movie?
Two of the best performances, like as far as a 1-2 punch of performances in movies, this one is very hard to beat. That's at the top of the list. The editing is so good in this movie. The way it makes you feel like you're right there on the drum kit and it's flashing with the beat. It's top-notch editing, top-notch performances, and they somehow do this in an hour and 45 minutes. What's not to love about this movie?
This movie seemed longer than an hour and 45 minutes. This movie seemed like it was so long, but not in a bad way. Like, it didn't feel like it dragged or anything like that. there was so much that went on in an hour and 45 minutes that you would have swore this was a 3-hour movie.
Oh, this movie's so lean. There is no wasted second in this movie.
Agreed.
And that's probably why it felt so long, is because there's not a 3-minute stretch where you can just kind of sit back and relax. It is in your face the entire movie.
Yes. Yeah, I liked how intense this movie was. I also absolutely love the vulgarity. I loved how quick and fast and everything just rattled off of J.K. Simmons. He's incredible. He's always been incredible. He was born for this role.
And Miles Teller playing off that, the raw emotion.
Yes.
It is just a beautiful dichotomy that leads to exquisite filmmaking. So I guess the question I have for you, is there anything you didn't like about this movie?
No. Oh, there's one thing that I wanted to just go ahead and throw out there. It's part of my trivia. I don't remember the exact wording of it. I'll just, read it once we get to trivia. But you were talking about how they did such a good job with the editing and all that stuff that it makes you feel like you're on the drum kit and everything. Everybody but J.K. Simmons and Miles Teller was part of an actual jazz band or school band or whatever. Like, they're all musicians, and it was recorded in a music room. And so that realistic of being involved in the band and everything also plays a part into that, because they're all professional musicians.
And it shows. Like, the live performances are great live performances in this movie.
Yes. And Miles Teller does all his own drumming.
Now, neither of us are music experts, but that seems impressive. He wasn't just hitting like 1-2 backbeats or anything like that. He was playing.
It's incredibly impressive. To answer your question, is there anything I didn't like about this movie? No, I liked everything about this movie. This movie is incredible. I actually, coming into this movie, this is the second time I've seen it, and you said you wanted to do Whiplash, and I didn't tell you this, but I was kind of upset you picked Whiplash, because I was like, fuck, I don't want to watch Whiplash again. Because thinking on it, I didn't think I liked it as much as I did. And then we pressed play, I started watching it, and then I started remembering everything that happened in the movie. I remembered the ruthlessness of J.K. Simmons, everything that Miles Teller goes through, his family, his girlfriend, the car crash, that scene where he runs from the car crash and plays at that competition, meeting J.K. Simmons in a jazz bar. J.K. Simmons invited him to play for the JVC band, being like, you think I'm fucking stupid? I know it was you that got me fired, and doing no sheet music. Like, I started remembering all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, fuck, this is going to be a great rewatch. I was wrong. I like this movie a lot.
So I do kind of have a theory about this movie, and I want to know how much Nema liked it, because I'm assuming obsessive personality perfectionist people do not like this movie near as much as me and your lazy ass.
Nema actually liked this movie quite a bit.
Okay.
She gave it 8 out of 10 stars. Her big thing was, this kind of goes with what you were saying. Her response to watching this movie was that she wished she liked something this much.
Nope, not me.
No, thank you.
I remember, so I did CrossFit for about a year and a half, and there was a banner in the little box, the little CrossFit gym, the empty warehouse with weights.
Yeah.
That said, "Don't let good be robber of the best." And I was like, nah, I'm okay with good. I don't need to be the best. I'm cool being good.
Yeah, perfectly fine with good. Oh my gosh. You know what? Actually, I don't need to be Tom Brady. I can be Carson Palmer.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that.
I'm fine being Ryan Tannehill.
got a great wife, a big house, and more money than I'll ever spend. I'm good. I don't need to be the
best. The best means going through that? Nuh-uh. Mm-mm.
I think this is an obvious one. Is this a good movie?
Oh, wait. Is there anything you didn't like about the movie?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think so.
It's pretty damn flawless.
Yeah, I agree. To answer your question, it's neither. It's not a good or a bad movie. It's fucking great.
Agreed.
Now we're into it, BJ.
How into it are we?
Oh, we are balls deep into it. Mount Rushmore of scenes, baby.
Was this hard for you or easy?
I pulled a lot of Eddie Guerrero, so
Okay.
pretty easy.
I pulled one, but I changed my mind 9 different times on the order in which movies were in it.
I got you. Actually, I only Eddie Guerrero'd once. No, I Eddie Guerrero twice. So 2 out of 4, 50%.
So I'll go ahead and I'll just start with my Eddie Guerrero. And I loved these scenes so much. I called it every dinner or drinks scene. So when he has...
Jesus Christ, that's a huge Eddie Guerrero.
Hang with me.
That's your biggest lie, Steet and Chill on the pod.
So it's basically 4 scenes. So my fourth scene is 4 scenes.
Fuck.
Let's start with the date scene. So cute, so 19, so first college date. They absolutely nailed the awkwardness of like your first college date. Loved it. I'm going to skip to the breakup scene because that's when I
understand.
That at that point in the movie, you're like, ooh, J.K. Simmons is fucking this man up. He is not mentally right.
No. And she's just straight up, she's just like, so you're breaking up with me because you think that I'm going to want to stop you from achieving greatness, and because I won't be great, I'm going to resent you for trying to be great, and we should just break up now. And he's like, yes, exactly.
That is some Andrew Tate level shit right there.
Oh my God. The first time I saw that scene, I was shook. I was like, there's no way this kid is saying this to this poor girl.
At 19? Can you imagine hearing that at 19?
Right. Just what the fuck? And then later in the movie, they have the gall to call that girl back.
I was pissed at him when he called her back.
And I was so happy when she said, let me check with my boyfriend. Yeah, motherfucker.
And then the wonderful drink scene with J.K. Simmons in the little jazz bar in New York.
Yep.
Whew, man, that was good. But my favorite is the family dinner, when the family is just not impressed with him making the #1 jazz band in the #1 music school in the country as a freshman. And they're not impressed at all. And what I loved most about this scene is, you know, you jocks, you athletes, you think you're the only ones determined. You ain't got shit on this jazz drummer.
Yep.
You were not clanging and banging in the weight room to where your hands were bleeding like Miles Teller was with those drums. You were not doing that. He's better than you, Division III football player.
Yep. This is, I'll just go ahead and just, because fuck it. This is my number 3 scene. And I didn't lie, seat, and chill and throw in other dinner scenes because this dinner scene is creme de la creme. It's fucking incredible. He just like, just talking about the record. He's like, it's Division III. Like, it's like, fuck off. It's Division III. And then his cousin's like, what are you saying, that you think you're better than us? He's like, oh, you catch on quick. Are you in the Model UN?
my favorite line from that. Oh, if it's so easy, why don't you come play for us? He goes, that's one thing you'll never hear from the NFL.
Yes. I wanted to like that line more, but my favorite line was, oh, you catch on quick. Are you in the Model UN? And then his fucking uncle just trying to be like, just whatever he said. He's like, no, I'd rather be drunk and dead at 34 and have people talk about me at dinner than die sober at 90 and no one remember me.
I could not in good conscience leave any of those 4 scenes out. They were all so good.
I mean, it's fair. Every time they sat down for dinner was incredible. Just the family dinner scene was just fucking awesome.
That's why I say that one for the end. It was that good.
I initially had it as my number 4 scene, and then I was looking at my Mount Rushmore, and I'm just like, this isn't 4 on my Mount Rushmore. This is 3. And the
So,
only reason it's not higher than 3 is because the other 2 are just incredible.
so what is your number 4 scene?
My number 4 scene is Miles Teller going in and playing the drums by himself, and J.K. Simmons showing up, and he's like, do you know who I am? And he's like, yeah, I do. He's like, so you know I'm looking for players. So why'd you stop playing? And his response was to just keep playing. And then he stopped playing, and he's just like, why did you start playing? Like, I asked you why you stopped playing, and your answer was to become a tuned-up monkey and then just fucking play again. And I lie seat and chill on this because I take this into going in like to the regular band scene and the other band people just shitting on Miles. So I was like, oh, thank God the first chair's back because playing drums with this kid fucking sucked.
It was that introduction of J.K. Simmons was chef's kiss perfect.
Yes, because and ultimately that's why these two scenes stick together, because this is still the introduction to J.K. Simmons. He comes in and he has everybody in the regular band play, stops the bad people at first. He's like, well, your first chair, let's just sit. Well, he goes, your first chair, let's see if it's just because you're cute. Yep, that's why I stopped.
Oh man.
And then to end that scene where he's just like, drums, let's go, and homeboy thinking he got it was like, hell yeah. He's like, no, not you. Not you. Love that.
My third favorite scene, you're probably going to look at me sideways on why it's not higher, but it's the final scene.
Okay.
And part of this is your fault because you asked me to look at bad reviews, and I was like, who didn't like this movie? And you were like, musicians said it was unrealistic. So the whole movie, I'm thinking like there's something unrealistic with his playing. And the only thing I could find was when they started the song that he didn't know. He is a good enough drummer to at least provide a backbeat to the song.
I don't think with songs like that, I don't know if that's true or whatever, but when you're like just sheet music and like there's a specific, like, if you don't know what the fuck's going on, how are you going to provide any kind of rhythm?
Yeah, but he can find the rhythm of that song and play something simple so the drums at least don't stand out. That was the only thing I could think of musicians not liking this movie, thinking it was unrealistic. And I was also thinking later on in that scene, if I was one of the members of the band and this fucking drummer that I never met just starts fucking going off and calling the shots, I'd be like, fuck you, dude. Fuck you. I've been practicing this shit for 6 months. What are you doing?
Nah, not when you're that good. You're just like, yeah, let me come in.
But needless to say, it's a great scene and a great solo and a great ending.
My number 3 scene we already talked about, family dinner. So we'll skip over that. I'll jump ahead and do my number 2 scene. My number 2 scene is the finale.
Okay.
I love him walking out there, not being sheet music, and J.K. Simmons is just like, you think I'm fucking stupid? I knew it was you. Love that.
I'm super interested in what your number 1 scene is now, because I have 2 choices and I'm not sure which one it is.
What else do I have on here? Oh, I love whenever J.K. Simmons walks up to him and he's just like, dude, fucking stop playing or I'm going to kill you. And Miles Teller just cymbals into his face, hits the cymbals into J.K. Simmons' face. Love that. But yeah, it was I have this in the trivia too, but this was a 9-minute music scene with 5 minutes of drum solo.
I don't see a problem here.
I don't either. It just incredible. And the fact that Miles Teller does all his own drumming, incredible.
So my second favorite scene is, I guess, the car crash scene is what I called it.
Okay.
It's where this movie becomes like a thriller out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
It just becomes a good old-fashioned thriller, albeit with very low stakes. But I was incredibly invested for these very low stakes. And I was rooting for him so hard. And when I saw him leave the sticks at the rental car place, I was like yelling at my TV for him to go back in there and get the sticks. And I legitimately jumped when he got hit by the car.
Okay.
I jumped off my couch. I was not expecting that.
The
And
car crash scene is one of my honorable mentions.
And him coming back bloodied, probably concussed, just all sorts of out of whack, culminating with him tackling J.K. Simmons.
Love the tackle. Love the tackle. And then, I mean, I know this happens off screen, but you know he got a ticket for leaving a crash scene.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just all that goes into it. Incredible scene. And like you said, like out of nowhere, the movie becomes a thriller. It was incredible. My number one scene that you have waited patiently for, as we've switched positions on who goes first on here, is an incredibly long scene. It's also where our quotes for the opening of the pod come. It's the first rehearsal after he makes the band.
Yep, that is the number one scene in the movie. And although it's long, it is one scene.
Yes, it is one scene. Notes that I have written here are pretty much all quotes, but I have, of course, the milk the cunt. That is not your boyfriend's dick. Do not come early. We have an out of tune player. Maybe a bug flew in my ear. So let's see. Nope, no bug. So either you're sabotaging my band or you don't know you're out of tune, which is even worse.
What are you looking at the floor for? There's no Mars bar down there.
No, he goes, there's no fucking Mars bar down there. What the fuck are you looking at? He's like, are you kidding me? Because your mind's on a fucking Happy Meal and not your music?
And then the reveal is like, by the way, he wasn't out of tune. You were, Erickson. But he thought he was. And that's fucking worse.
Yep. And what I really loved about this scene is I feel like Fletcher did this every time he had someone new come in. I think he got rid of someone that he wanted to get rid of anyway, because because then you show the new person that you're a fucking ruthless prick. And then they're out there in the hallway and he's just like, hey man, you're here for a reason. You believe that, right? And just talking to him, asking about his parents, yada, yada, yada. Kind of like break down some barriers, make him comfortable. Miles Teller walks in all smiles. And he's just like, not quite my tempo. Not quite my tempo. And then he fucking throws a chair at him.
And then uses the stuff that he confided in him against him.
Yep. And then the whole rushing and dragging scene. Are you rushing or dragging? I don't know. And then he starts slapping him. Are you fucking rushing or dragging? Rushing. So you do know the difference.
The minute he told me that's probably why your mother left you, I'd have just beat the fuck out of him right there.
Yeah. No kidding. I will fuck you like a pig.
God damn, that scene is powerful.
It like you said, without question, it's the best scene in the movie. And it happens so early. And even though it's the best scene in the movie, it stays with that energy the whole movie.
And I was worried you were going to not put that one on there and choose the car crash scene. But you chose correctly on the number one scene.
Yeah. I have two other honorable mentions that we didn't talk about, and this movie's too incredible to not talk about them. I loved when Miles Teller became first chair.
The first concert.
Yeah, the first concert, and losing the folder, and homeboy trying to blame it on Andrew, and J.K. Simmons like, the folder's your job. Why the fuck would you give it to Andrew?
I thought J.K. Simmons stole it on purpose. I thought we were going to get that reveal.
I did too, and I think that's what happened.
They just didn't reveal it.
Yeah, it's not pertinent to the overall story.
Yeah.
And then the other honorable mention I wanted to do was them staying up all fucking night before the car crash to find the drummer.
Those were my two honorable mentions as well. I had a hard time leaving both of those out.
I did too. And then to just end that scene with, hey, we found our drummer. Alternate, you want to clean the blood off my drum set? All right, we can start now. I was like, what the fuck?
I think my favorite part of that is when the Irish kid adjusts the stool. And he's like, stool height? That's the fucking problem. We've been doing this for 2 fucking hours, and the problem's the fucking stool height.
Well, you better have it now.
Oh, God, Simmons is a prick in this movie.
So much so. And so good at it. Good Mount Rushmore. Good fucking Mount Rushmore.
That was something to get through because all of those scenes are intense. I do have a movie-related talk, and you may have some trivia on this. I don't know. But the 2015 Oscars
Uh-huh.
is probably the last great Oscars run we have.
You think so?
Would you like to know the 2014? All right, so 2015 Oscars, so the movies that came out in 2014 that were nominated. Would you like to hear some of them?
Sure.
Whiplash did not win Best Picture. It was won by Birdman with Michael Keaton and Emma Stone.
Good movie.
American Sniper was nominated as well.
Have you seen Birdman?
I have.
Okay.
Do you not like
Sniper. No, I mean I said it was a good movie.
Okay.
American Sniper was all right.
And it's Clint Eastwood. You've seen one Clint Eastwood movie, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
Richard Linklater's Boyhood.
I've never seen that. I wasn't interested in it. Whoop-de-doo, you filmed the film over 19 years. Whoop-de-doo!
We have Selma.
That's a movie that I should have seen already.
Oh, I figured you did. That was nominated as well, along with The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch.
I've never seen that.
And The Theory of Everything, the Eddie Redmayne Stephen Hawking movie.
I didn't see that either. Also, because I just pulled it up because I saw your movie-related talk, The Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yes. Which, again, amazing Wes Anderson movie.
Oh, Gone Girl was that year, too.
Gone Girl was that year, along with Interstellar, a movie we saw together in theaters, Foxcatcher, with Steve Carell, Mark Ruffalo, and Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Highly recommend that one.
Incredible movie.
Paul Thomas Anderson's Inherent Vice, and maybe the most depressing movie you will ever see, Still Alice, with Julianne Moore, a brilliant Harvard professor who has early onset Alzheimer's.
The most depressing movie I've ever seen is Requiem for a Dream.
But I thought this year was just an incredible year for Oscar movies, and they hadn't gotten this close since. But it seems like you missed a bunch of those.
I did. I missed a bunch of them. What was the next year?
I don't know.
I'm looking. The Revenant, Room.
Ugh, see?
Bridge of Spies. Ugh.
Yeah. After that, it gets kind of real bleak.
2017, La La Land. I like Fences, but you don't. Moonlight. Ugh. Okay. 2018, Darkest Hour. 3 billboards outside of whatever, Missouri. That was a great movie. Get Out, but again, like you can have a couple.
Let's put it this way.
You're right.
In 2015,
2015 had all of them.
In 2015, Gone Girl was not nominated for Best Picture.
Yeah, and it fucking should have been. Okay. Yeah, maybe you're right, because these next years kind of suck. Like, of course, there's good movies on here, but there's not the Rock House that's in 2015.
Yeah, it's not a bunch of good movies. And like I said, Interstellar, Foxcatcher, and Gone Girl, all way better than American Sniper. And if you throw those up there with the Best Picture nominees, that's as good as you get for Oscar movies, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right. At least up through 2019, I'm done looking at years. So
after that, it doesn't. You get like The Shape of Water and shit like that. Green Book.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fair. Character breakdown.
We start with J.K. Simmons or Miles Teller?
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Who do you think was better? We'll start with them.
Oh, J.K. Simmons.
All right. He did win Best Supporting Actor.
He won Best Supporting Actor along with 47 other awards as his role as Fletcher.
Deservingly so. This is a Hannibal Lecter type supporting actor role. There's very few supporting actor roles that are even in this ballpark. It's that good.
Yes, totally agree. It just how J.K. Simmons is. I mean, it's the reason he keeps playing what's his face in the Spider-Man movies. He's just able to rattle off these lines and deliver them in such a way that really nobody else can. And I don't see anybody else playing this role like J.K. Simmons does.
I can't imagine anybody. You know, you think like, you know, kind of Denzel, Training Day era Denzel with that intensity, but he's lacking that quickness, that authoritarianism, that just pure brash cockiness that Simmons does here. I'm with you. I don't even know who else could have played this. And with the wrong person here, this movie goes horribly wrong.
I agree. I don't know if you know this is part of my trivia too, but this was originally a short because the director couldn't get funding for a full length movie, and J.K. Simmons plays Fletcher in the short too.
Might have to check the short out.
Yeah, they sent it to film festivals, and that's how they got the backing for the movie.
And the fact that you could make it for $3 million.
Yeah, and just the fact to bring in J.K. Simmons, like, how much did he like this script, and how much did he like playing Fletcher in the short to be on this budget of $3.3 million? Because he costs more than that.
Can you imagine giving this role to a method actor?
Oh my God. Ugh. Nima asked me this week what method acting was, and I described it to her, and she's like, and after I got done explaining it, I told her about the Marlon Brando quote, and he was just like, "Why don't you just act?" And he was like, "I was just about to say that. Like, isn't that your whole job to fucking act?"
Did you tell her method acting is being as obnoxious as possible to everyone when the cameras aren't rolling?
Yes. I actually quoted you. I was like, BJ actually talked about this in the Grinch movie. It's to be as obnoxious as possible to everyone you're filming with for about 4 weeks.
But
and then I couldn't remember your exact quote, and so the next way that I described it was like, oh, here's a good example. In the movie My Left Foot, Daniel Day-Lewis played a paraplegic, and for the 4 weeks of shooting, he acted like a paraplegic, which means people had to feed him, wash him, wipe his ass, and use the bathroom for him because he wouldn't act like not a paraplegic person.
Nope. No. Get off my set.
Yeah, get off my set or I fucking quit. So, yeah, I couldn't imagine a method actor playing this role. I'd fucking quit.
On to Miles Teller as Andrew Neiman.
Yeah.
He's clearly a star in this movie.
Yes.
There's no doubt.
I can't wait for more roles.
There's no doubt watching this movie, this is a top-notch actor. The emotional weight he has to carry. How old is he when they filmed
19.
this movie?
Oh, when they filmed this movie, he was 25.
Still, that is incredible emotional weight he has to carry. And he does it, and I believe every second of everything he's doing. And
yes.
It is a difficult performance. You're going across somebody who's just bringing intensity like we've never seen on screen. And you have to match it and let him cook at the same time with fulfilling all of the emotional weight of this movie. No one else in this movie carries any emotional weight other than Miles Teller. And it's such a good performance.
I mean, by all intents and purposes, there's only 2 characters in this movie.
Yeah. I put Paul Reiser, who plays Miles Teller's dad in this movie, because I thought it was actually a pretty important role as kind of the audience avatar, if you will, as to what's going on, where he's just like, this sounds miserable. You should probably get a job in finance or something, dude.
Yeah. Like you thought that I'd let this person treat my son like this and not do anything about it? Like, no. Like you said, he's the audience avatar.
And I love their relationship as kind of a single dad relationship. I thought it was wonderful. They go see movies together and showed up to the house, and he's like, stock the pantry with Gushers. And I thought it was a really good job for him for what that role needed to be. Just kind of being the supportive dad and the audience avatar. I loved him in there. That's kind of why I put him in. But yes, for all intents and purposes, there's 2 characters in this movie.
Yeah, and they both play well off each other. But I liked what you had to say about Miles Teller, because I was literally just about to say the supportive dad thing, and then you said it. Like, it was a good character.
Yeah, that's really it. That's really all I had for the characters. No one else really matters. Everyone else is just a plot device.
I will say, because it's part of my... Actually, we'll just get there in my trivia, because you'll agree with it. It's about the girlfriend.
Well, speaking of trivia, you teased it. You foreshadowed it earlier.
I did. It might be our best trivia on the pod thus far, and I don't know when it'll get beat. And I've got my ending trivia couldn't be any better.
Let's hear it.
So, of course, as always, we'll start out with general trivia. A sign in big letters posted on the wall in the band room reads, "If you don't have the ability, you wind up playing in a rock band."
I saw that and I was like, Rock Band sounds way more fun than this.
Yeah, but me being a metalhead had to put that in there. But I just want to say that all of the best drummers in metal, I shouldn't say all the best drummers, but a large majority of the best drummers in metal have musical schooling background. Like Marty, no, sorry, wrong name. He's a guitarist for Megadeth. But a number of the Megadeth drummers, jazz drummers, and classical drummers. Anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. One of the few.
It's the Robin Williams being a Juilliard trained actor of musicians. And
yes,
I haven't asked you this. You being somebody who essentially only listens to metal and Southern rap, did you hate the music in this movie?
No, I like instrumental stuff. Like okay. I'll throw on jazz when I'm doing stuff that I have to concentrate.
Okay, because I thought it was great. Like I loved all the songs.
Now I do throw on instrumental deathcore too. I have a whole playlist, but I'll listen to jazz and shit. And you know what? It also helps that being a metalhead and Southern rap, a lot of the same not a lot, like the same instruments used in jazz and the blues and everything else are in Southern rap and metal. So it all fucking fits.
Because there's a lot of music in this movie.
Yes. One of the few Blumhouse production films that is not a horror film, but it sure does watch like one, doesn't it?
I was going to say disagree. It absolutely is a horror
film. Similar pronunciation of the word whiplash in Thai language is whip-pa-lad, which means be mad, be insane, which matches the movie's theme.
Yeah.
The title of the film refers to many things. The first complete jazz piece Andrew learns and performed with Fletcher's band, a common neck injury from car accidents, one of which was depicted during the film, and the beating of a drum similar to the cracking or lashing of a whip, and of course the abuse he suffers under Fletcher.
I figured that was the point of the title. I figured it was more than just the name of the song. It was...
Of course.
I didn't catch the car accident one or the drumming one, but the abuse and the whiplash being so intense on something that it hurts other things in your life. I definitely picked up on that.
Yeah, that tracks. Both Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons have portrayed comic book characters in Marvel films. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man. Also later as Commissioner Gordon in Justice League, and Teller as Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic in the Fantastic Four movie.
You don't need to watch that.
Melissa Botness would later star as the DC heroine Supergirl.
All right. Was she the girlfriend?
I think so, yeah. Okay. To receive funding, writer-director Damien Chazelle filmed a large chunk of the screenplay and submitted it to festivals as a short. J.K. Simmons was cast as the same character, whereas Andrew is played by Johnny Simmons. No relation.
Huh.
The screenplay for this film was featured in the 2012 Blacklist as the list of most liked unmade scripts of the year. Early drafts of the original screenplay were written as a psychological thriller. The film was shot, edited, and submitted into Sundance in 10 fucking weeks.
Wow. Well, I can see how that happens because you have like 4
shot
locations
and edited.
Yeah, the editing is amazing in this movie.
Yeah, and to do that with everything else in 10 weeks. Nate Lang, Carl, is an accomplished drummer and trained Miles Teller and Austin Stoll for their roles.
All right.
Austin Stoll had no drumming experience and only had a month to prepare for his role by learning 3 songs on the drums.
It's a hard 3 songs to learn, though.
No shit, dude. Miles Teller is the only member of the film's concert ensemble who was not played by a real musician. Most of the on-screen characters were played by local musicians and music students, most of whom had never been in a movie before.
I hope they got paid well.
I'm sure they did. These guys are actually blowing sounds in their instruments, and they actually know what they're playing. The director said this helped create the feeling of actually being in a band room rather than a movie set, which is where the rehearsal scenes for the film actually took place. J.K. Simmons was up against Ethan Hawke for Boyhood at the Academy Awards for Best Actor in a Supporting Role. Hawke played his character on and off occasionally over the course of 12 years. Simmons played his for 19 days.
Yeah, Boyhood takes place over 12 years. It's worth a watch. It's really interesting. Not everybody likes it.
Maybe I'll give it a watch. Who knows? In the scene where J.K. Simmons...
It may hit a little close to home for you.
Divorced parents?
Yeah.
Shitty stepdad?
Yeah. At least the shitty stepdad's rich, though.
Yep. Don't know what that feels like. In the scene where J.K. Simmons yells, "I will fuck you like a pig," you may notice that the camera cuts away from him when he delivers that line. The line was actually taken from the short film. The original line was, "I'm going to gut you like a fucking pig." Damien Chazelle thought the new line was hilarious and included it in the production script. Simmons thought it was ridiculous and refused to say that line, but Chazelle included the mistake in post-production anyway.
So that's his balls deep.
Yes. And you just said it. Yeah, he said balls deep on the pod. Yeah.
I was hoping to slide that one by you. You're going to edit that little piece out and just put it in every podcast now.
That'll be part of our intro bits once we fucking finally do that. Fletcher forces Neiman to count off 215 BPMs, then insults him for getting it wrong. But Neiman's timing is actually perfect. This is an early cue that Fletcher is playing a twisted game with him, trying to turn him into a legendary musician.
Yeah, don't ask me what 215 beats per minute is. I couldn't. Fast.
Yeah, real fast. Melissa Botness had no idea that the breakup scene between her and Andrew would be played out almost entirely on her face. Quote, "Miles is talking, Simmons recalls, and Damien has the camera on her because that's what matters." Simmons offers it as a credit to Botness' dedication that she never took a second off, not even when it wasn't her coverage.
That's what good actors do.
That's the only thing I had to say about other characters in this movie was just that one. And of course, there's a reason that your live Eat and Chill scene had all of every time someone sat down for dinner.
It's so good every time.
Damien Chazelle points out that the bar scene between Fletcher and Andrew is the flip side of the family dinner earlier in the movie. This is finally the person who completely sees eye to eye with him and understands him. Both Simmons and Chazelle referred to Andrew multiple times as a recovering addict throughout this sequence. Damien Chazelle describes the scenes leading up to the Dunlin competition as being very similar to a drug sequence. Quote, "Let's build up the pitch inside this guy's head until it becomes unbearable. And then let's keep going once it's already unbearable." Quote, J.K. Simmons, who has seen the film a handful of times in theaters at this point, describes the quick shot of the drumsticks in the car rental lobby as eliciting an audible gasp from most audiences.
It did for me. I was like, "No, go get the sticks." I didn't catch the drug metaphor.
Did you start to think about it when I put it in my summary?
Yeah, a little. But then again, like obsession and addiction, what's the difference?
Not much.
I mean, I guess one's chemical and the other's mental, emotional, whatever. Yeah. But yeah. I mean, that, and you're talking about someone who has not the most addicting personality ever. Like, I can go take one bite of dessert and be like, okay, that's good. I'm good. Yeah. I don't need any more.
Yeah, I'm gravy.
So, yeah. So addiction is always a complicated thing for me to understand.
I feel that. Here's my jazz trivia. Charlie Parker did not die of a heroin overdose. Parker's life took a turn for the worse in March 1954 when his 3-year-old daughter, Pre, died of cystic fibrosis and
Cystic
pneumonia.
fibrosis.
Thank you, cystic fibrosis and pneumonia. He attempted suicide twice in 1954, which once again landed him in a mental hospital. On March 12, 1955, while visiting his friend, the jazz baroness Nika D. Conserwater, Charlie Parker died. The coroner cited pneumonia as the cause and estimated Parker's age of 35 or at 55 or 60. He was only 34.
Rough life.
Yep. Early in the film, Andrew listens to a CD of Buddy Rich. Buddy Rich was a drummer and famous for his short temper and would regularly berate and verbally abuse his bandmates for what he considered inferior musicianship. This foreshadows Fletcher's abusive treatment of the students.
Yeah, get out of my band.
Fucker. The basic story Fletcher recounts about Charlie Parker is true, but his description isn't accurate. Drummer Joe Jones did indeed throw a cymbal in response to Parker's playing, but he did not throw it as a physical attack on Parker. He simply threw it onto the stage floor as a signal that Parker should leave the stage. Jazz historians have also said that this was not a response to poor performance, as Fletcher says, but because the older musicians disapproved of the fast improvisations Parker was playing that became his trademark.
Sounds right.
Fletcher asked that Nassau band bassist to play 5 stars of Donna Lee. Donna Lee being a jazz standard by Charlie Parker, renowned to bass players because of the version played by Jaco Pastorius with bass playing the main theme. The band bassist plays a regular walking bass line, though. Oh, that was probably all one line. The chart Whiplash performed in the film is the type referred to by jazz players as a time chart, a piece with an unconventional time signature, in this case 14th eighths. The chart's arranger, Hank Levy, is famous within jazz circles for his numerous time charts classics.
I don't know what any of that means.
I don't either. This is for the jazz people. This is for all our jazz listeners, BJ.
We're big in the jazz community.
On his date with Nicole, a song comes on in the back room that Andrew recognizes by Jackie Hill from 1938. There is no such jazz artist named Jackie Hill. That song, along with many of the compositions featured in the film, are the works of the film's composer, Justin Hurwitz.
He composed all of those?
A number of them, yeah.
Guy's got skill.
Right. Buddy Rich, the famous drummer who Andrew idolizes, never received any formal music education and said he never practiced.
See, it's not worth it.
And that's why I ended the jazz bit with that. Director trivia. J.K. Simmons claims that Damien Chazelle had Miles Teller in mind for Andrew during the writing process, but did not know that Teller had been playing the drums since he was 15. One of the key parts of the rehearsal process then was reteaching Teller how to hold the sticks in the style of a jazz drummer and not as a rock and roll drummer. Damien Chazelle could not get funding for the movie, so he did it as a short in 2013 at the Sundance Film Festival. It ended up winning the Short Film Jury Award.
This script seems like a hard sell.
100% it does. As we've already noted, it was shot in 19 days. Nearly a full day was dedicated to the scene in Fletcher's office that was cut from the final movie. Still, Chazelle believes the scene ultimately helped Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons develop their chemistry.
Yeah, they had great chemistry.
And I want to see that scene. That's one of the things I miss about Blu-rays and DVDs is deleted scenes.
It does feel like there could have been 5 more minutes, even maybe 10 more minutes, between Miles Teller getting kicked out of school and deciding to be the witness on the lawsuit.
Yeah, that part did seem a little rushed. Although the moment where Fletcher throws a cymbal at Andrew was one of the highlights of the theatrical trailer, Chazelle still enjoyed the opportunity to milk the scene for as much tension as possible in the movie. Quote, "It's like your first act of violence in a violent movie. It buys you the ability to play around with the threat."
What did you think of when you said milk the scene?
Milk the cunt, baby.
I knew that's where your head was because that's exactly where mine was.
The scene where Andrew travels home to have dinner with his family is one that many people suggested Chazelle should cut. Not only would it require a lot of setup on a small budget, it would also throw his actors directly into the deep end from day one. Instead, Chazelle was talked into moving this scene to the very beginning of the production schedule. The director describes this as something he learned from Cindy Lumet, who would always begin his films with a shot he would threaten to use in the final product to keep his cast and crew on their toes. And I'm so glad he didn't take that scene out of the movie and didn't listen to those people because it's incredible.
Yeah.
In an interview with Screen Rush, Chazelle stated that the ending implied Andrew's future would be like Charlie Parker, where he would rather die drunk and broke at the age of 34. This was earlier remarked in the heated conversation in that family dinner scene. Chazelle also mentioned that he deliberately ended the film without any scene between Andrew and Fletcher after the performance, as he believes their competitive relationship to be unresolved.
It didn't. No, he ended it properly.
Yeah, it was a great ending. Here lately, I've been pretty upset with movie endings. I was not with this one.
No, it was great. I never second guessed the ending. I thought it ended just right.
My J.K. Simmons trivia. Simmons has played the piano in the past and had to retake lessons for this role.
Yeah, he wasn't doing anything special on it.
No, but I mean, it's just cool that both leads had music in their background.
I think a lot of actors do because it's in that, that drama club thing, that performance, that performance inside you that you just love performing.
And it's also like once you become an actor, like Jim Carrey does with art, like he's an incredible artist now. Like you have all this free time and all this money. What are you going to do besides work on your creative stuff? You pick up an instrument, you start drawing, you start painting, like you start creating something. So it just makes sense on all those different levels. This is the second role where Simmons interacts with a young man named Andrew. On the HBO show Oz, Simmons' character had a teenage son named Andrew, which eventually I will get around to watching one day.
I think it's a pretty tough watch, man. That's the prison show, right?
Aren't all HBO dramas a tough watch?
Fair.
Simmons actually had his own musical background. His mother was a middle school music teacher, and his father was the director of the music department at the University of Montana, where Simmons himself earned a music degree.
Cool.
Simmons suffered 2 cracked ribs when Teller tackled him during the last 2 days of shooting. Simmons managed to continue working despite his injury.
How bad would you feel as an actor when you cracked an old man's ribs?
Right.
I'm so sorry, JK. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it.
JK. For the slapping scene, Simmons and Teller filmed several takes, with Simmons only miming the slap. For the final take, though, Simmons and Teller decided to film the scene with a real, genuine slap. That is the take used in the film.
Did you want to give a Ric Flair woo on every slap?
Yeah, of course I did. The first real confrontation between Fletcher and Andrew is unquestionably J.K. Simmons' favorite part of the movie, due to the fact that he got to slap Teller multiple times in the face.
So Simmons loves this role and this movie.
The next bit of trivia is, since this was the scene from the short as well, Simmons very cheerfully admits that he got to smack a couple of different actors around. Simmons stated his character Fletcher calling Andrew a self-righteous little prick was the only line he improvised. Everything else is scripted.
I'm a little surprised by that because everything seemed like improv because he was going so quickly and had so much intensity and passion in it.
Right. This bit of trivia reminds me of how little improvisation there is on The Big Lebowski. Just everything being scripted in that movie. That's what that trivia reminded me of, because it does seem like a lot of Simmons stuff would be improv.
Yeah, I'm baffled by that trivia.
Miles Teller trivia. Andrew appears in every single scene of this movie.
Yeah, he is the movie.
Yes. During the more intense practice scenes, the director would not yell cut so that Miles Teller would keep drumming until he exhausted himself.
Yeah, from this movie, drumming looks like the greatest cardio workout of all time.
No kidding. Teller has been drumming since he was 15 years old. He took additional lessons 4 hours a day, 3 days a week to prepare for the movie. He received blisters on his hands due to the vigorous, unconventional style of jazz drumming. Some of his blood was on the drumsticks and the drum set as a result. Like, the blood's legit. Although a visual double was used, all of Andrew's drumming was performed by Miles Teller himself into pre-recorded tracks. About 40% of Teller's drumming was used in the soundtrack as well. Chazelle wanted Miles Teller for the role of Andrew Neiman when he was filming the original short, but Teller was unavailable, so Johnny Simmons was cast instead. When casting the feature film version, the finalists for the roles were Teller and Simmons. Teller was cast because he was a better-known name and an actual drummer.
Am I supposed to know who Johnny Simmons is?
No.
Okay.
The studio originally gave Chazelle a note saying he's good at drumming. We get it. In an attempt to try to take out the ending drum solo. Chazelle disagreed and kept the drum solo into the film.
Drum solos can be annoying.
Agreed. But this movie, it just worked out.
Yeah. I mean, this movie's about a drummer. You have to have it.
Final bits of trivia. When asked about the film's ending, J.K. Simmons claimed that he and writer-director Damien Chazelle wanted to, quote, inspire discussion and debate and not decide. Are we happy for Andrew Neiman or are we laminating his loss of humanity? The debate I love is how far is too far? How much is too much? Is it worth it? This kind of relentless abuse might be necessary and appropriate if you're a training Navy SEAL. But I don't know if it's appropriate in a music school. But it's there, and it can be productive. There's no denying that. From my own perspective, I'd rather have a pretty girlfriend to go work with this guy than have my hands bleed all the time. I would have made a different choice, quote.
Of course.
Yes, of course.
We know what side we're on.
Yes. This part of trivia is in here just because I like doing this shit because it's so fucking weird. Swiss censorship visa number 1010.230. I don't know what that means. I find it funny when I find it on trivia.
Go for it.
And what I spoiled you for at the start of the trivia, my last bit of trivia. According to Damien Chazelle, the ending probably subconsciously came from the 2007 Quentin Tarantino movie Death Proof, where after this prolonged action sequence, the movie just suddenly comes to an instant close.
There's nothing wrong with that ending.
Nope.
Nothing at all.
Love that I found some Tarantino trivia to throw in.
I know you did.
Because for a movie podcast where the two hosts' favorite director is Tarantino, we have yet to do a Tarantino film.
Because it's going to be a 3-hour podcast.
So, doesn't fucking matter. We still haven't done one yet. So, what'd you think of the trivia? Was it as good as I set it up to be?
That was really good trivia.
Nice.
Because that was trivia for the whole movie.
Yeah.
And I love how much Simmons loved this character.
Me too.
And speaking of Simmons, you know the impersonation, right?
I mean, it's got to be J.K. Simmons, right?
Yeah. I'm going to need a second here.
Uh-huh.
Jacob, I see you with your fucking blonde hair and your goddamn blue eyes. Fucking Aryan son of a bitch. You look like a Joseph Goebbels wet dream. You're fucking...
I'm sorry.
You're fucking... Your fucking racial supremacy is going to lead you to have erectile dysfunction by the time you're 28 fucking years old. I bet you got a better chance of getting a fucking boner than you do of hitting my fucking tempo, you Nazi motherfucker.
I like that. That was a good one.
Thank you.
That was a good one.
Am I the first person to ever say a Joseph Goebbels wet dream in recorded history?
I think so, maybe. I think so, maybe. I liked it. I mean, like, it made me laugh out loud. It made me LOL IRL.
You broke me when you started laughing. I couldn't finish it.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? Are you fucking kidding me? You can't keep up with my tempo? You can't keep up with my fucking tempo? You're dragging, BJ. You are fucking dragging. I figured since you started shaving your fucking head, you no longer look like an uncircumcised penis, that you could keep up with the fucking tempo, but you fucking can't. That's all I got.
I'm not gonna lie, it kind of felt good to get to get that aggression out. I may just start doing this like 2 or 3 times a week, just to
right. Just do a J.K. Simmons Fletcher impersonation on your way into work.
Always about my fucking tempo.
I really thought that when I thought of the uncircumcised penis and you shaving your head that I was going to win this one, but bow down to you, my good sir. You win yet again.
It didn't beat Joseph Goebbels' wet dream.
It didn't even come close. And intentional pun. It didn't come close.
I honestly, I suggest everybody just try doing this. Like, just see how it makes you feel.
Yeah, it'll make you feel real good. Real good. Should they remake, or we're not there yet? Final thoughts on the movie in general. I want to do my rating first because I think yours is going to be higher.
Probably.
I'm right there with IMDb. It's an 8.5.
Okay.
If I need to round up to 9, I round up to 9. The acting is incredible. There's never a wasted second in this movie. The energy, the tempo, how intense it is, the skill not only from acting and directing and the musicianship. I have no problem giving it a 9. I don't know why I don't give it a 10, but 8.5.
I'm assuming it's not a movie made for you.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. Because like I said earlier, when you said you wanted to do Whiplash, I was kind of upset I let you pick. I was like, son of a bitch, I don't want to do this movie again. Or I don't want to watch this movie again. And then the second this movie started, I was like, actually, this is a good fucking movie. This is going to be good. So it's probably, like you said, it's probably because it's not made for me. But a good movie is a good fucking movie.
I rated this movie at a 9.6. Basically, so if I had to round up, I'd call it a 10.
Okay.
It is that good. It is incredible craftsmanship all the way around. Cinematography, editing, acting, directing. 9.6 is my final rating, and I stick with that.
Fair. All right. Should they remake this movie?
I don't know how you remake it. If you want to give me like an HBO show where J.K. Simmons takes on a new student every season, and it's his relationship with that particular student, and it's like a 3-season show, I think that's fucking amazing.
But not an hour. You couldn't do an hour-long drama like that. It has to be 30 minutes, right? Because that's too fucking intense to go 3 seasons, hour-long each show.
Yeah, maybe even like 30-minute episodes, 8-episode seasons.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see how they remake this either. I'm fine with them not remaking it. I'm fine with them doing movies like this.
Yeah. Where you essentially have 2 characters, and they're both just awesome.
Uh-huh. All right, BJ, you want to know what the people on IMDb thought?
Yeah, because I'm still curious, even musicians, how they didn't like the movie.
I don't even know if I have one about a musician not liking it. I think because those were so boring reviews.
Yeah.
But I have so much fun doing reviews. Like I don't even stick to just one anymore.
Because I'm gonna say it right here. The musicians that were like, "This is unrealistic," you just didn't have the fucking drive. You're not
That's
Charlie Parker.
that's fucking right. All right, by FYC Orange 14. 10 out of 10, best movie on my list. I don't think this person understood the message of this movie. There are no two words there are no two English words. What the fuck? This guy's so dumb. There are no two English words more harmful than good job. This is exactly what we need in the society right now. What a movie.
No, this is not what we need, bro. We do not need people like J.K. Simmons running around.
This guy missed the whole point. I love that's the reason he liked it.
Because even he'd been acting this way his whole life, and he's like, I haven't had a Charlie Parker, and it's like, you sure it's not you, bro? You sure you're not the problem?
Right.
It's just your students haven't been talented enough. No, dude, you fucking made people commit suicide, you dickhead.
By Avi.net 16. 10 out of 10, greatest movie of all time. This is a longer review, but I only took her first sentence. She's allowed on the pod anytime. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Whiplash is a cinematic masterpiece. I love this movie more than Kanye loves Kanye.
Yeah, you're welcome on.
By Troy Daniel Bush 21, titled I'm Exhausted, 10 out of 10. I feel like I had a workout after watching this. Something that I think everyone thought after watching it. It's intense. You'll tap your foot. You'll be happy and sad for Andrew. And when he's not making you laugh, you'll be scared of Fletcher. And you'll never feel the runtime. J.K. Simmons is one of my favorite actors. Whenever someone asks me why, I tell them, watch Spider-Man, then watch Whiplash.
He's right, though. I was exhausted after watching this movie.
100%.
I had to be like... Okay. All right.
Okay, here's my actual good review. It's by the movie Darorama, titled Whiplash is a modern masterpiece. I don't say that often. In fact, never. There aren't enough superlatives to describe the amazingness of Whiplash. Damien Chazelle crafted not just a tense, dramatic piece of cinema, but a thematic experience with layered subtext. Andrew is a college student who simply wants to be the best drummer. Terrence Fletcher, a renowned teacher at said college, sees potential in Andrew and chooses him to be the drummer in his band at the expense of emotional distress. This is a brutal character study, absolutely savage. This is about Fletcher as much as it is about Andrew. The psychological battle and the consequential emotional turmoil that follows, I've never been so compelled in a drama, ever. And this is my fifth viewing. The strive for perfection amidst the continuous passion that elevates Andrew as a person, and how Fletcher uses his passion in an attempt to obtain the perfect musician that Andrew hopes to be. The struggle for perfection is difficult in any profession. There is no right or wrong way to achieve this. The question is there a line between gently pushing someone towards a goal or inflicting emotional torture upon them? Fletcher leans toward the latter.
Yes, he does. Leans?
Yeah, right. So much so that
Fletcher long jumps past that line.
So much so that he actually imposes physical damage to Andrew to test whether he will be discouraged from the harsh reality of perfection or not. The internal struggle in Andrew is excellently conveyed. You can see his passion seeping through the blood, sweat, and tears, and yet mentally unable to cope with Fletcher's methods. A simple story, but executed with such ferocity and intelligence that it just feels fresh. Chazelle directed the heck out of this. Quick cuts between the musical instruments and nice long takes of Teller and Simmons dueling in anger. Speaking on Simmons, the best performance I've seen in years. Both complicated and terrifying simultaneously. He deserved every award. Teller was near perfect as well, conveying innocence and vulnerability. Look, I can talk about Whiplash forever. It's a masterpiece. End of review.
They basically just said what we've said in a way more eloquent way.
They said it without saying milk the cunt 3 times on this podcast.
Yeah. And one of us calling the other one an uncircumcised penis.
And the other one calling the other one a Joseph Goebbels wet dream. My bad reviews. I have 2. Johnson 525, rated 1 out of 10. Fletcher must die. Early on, this movie establishes that Whiplash has nothing to do with music and everything to do with sadism. No movie has ever made you hate a villain as this movie makes you hate Professor Fletcher.
And what did he rate this?
1 out of 10.
What? I'm confused.
Oh, let me do it again. Yeah, I think you're distracted. Johnstone 525, 1 out of 10. Fletcher must die. Early on, this movie establishes that Whiplash has nothing to do with music and everything to do with sadism. No movie has ever made you hate a villain as much as this movie makes you hate Professor Fletcher. So he doesn't like sadism.
Yeah. What movie did he like? What was he expect? Like, go watch a Hallmark. Go watch a Hallmark movie, bro.
Yeah, you'll like it. All right, by Chris Rock 7, 1 out of 10.
Chris Rock.
Yeah, Chris Rock reviewed this movie.
Black people come.
How can I, with the same comedic timing, deliver the same joke as Chris Rock and people hate me for it?
How pissed is Chris Rock listening to this? Because I know he does. That we think of Chris Rock not as one of the greatest stand-up comedians of all time, but as a Michael Scott bit from episode 2 of The Office.
You know he hates it.
Because Chris Rock is legitimately one of the 10 best stand-up comics of all time.
Yes.
And we're like, here's an Office bit that we think of when we think of Chris Rock.
Every single time. All right. Titled 100 Minutes of Torture. There's only one thing worse than ludicrous, shallow, artificial movies. And it's a ludus. And it's a... And that's a ludus shattuck. And that's a ludic. I said ludus. And that's a ludicrous, shallow, artificial movie that everybody seems to adore. Whiplash wants to be about the love of great art, but it's actually about the hate of great art. It has J.K. Simmons, a brilliant actor, playing a disgraceful character, stitched together with completely unrealistic, inconsistent motivations and actions, only conceived to bludgeon the viewer into thinking we're watching something profound. It actually tosses in assault, depression, and suicide in a way that only a clueless, opportunistic director could. It has a big finale that would only be powerful if only it made some sense for the main characters involved. It doesn't. Even worse, the finale leaves us with an unmistakable message. Sadistic leadership is the way to greatness. Don't take your kids to see this.
I disagreed with every single sentence of that review.
Me too. Except for don't take your kids to see this, because duh, it's rated R.
Yeah, and who are you, David?
We're gonna shit on David for that as many times as we absolutely can.
Yeah, no, the movie says this is not the way to teach people, actually, is the message of the movie. Because when he plays that well is when he's been away from J.K. Simmons for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months? I don't know.
Yep.
I'm confused by people's thinking that this movie is portraying you need the rough leadership of a J.K. Simmons. It's actually quite the opposite.
Yeah. People are just dumb. That's what it is.
One more thing, with you being your second time to watch this movie,
Yeah.
is this a movie I will watch multiple times in my life, or is it a one and done?
I think this is a movie you'll probably watch at least 2 more times.
Okay.
It's a heavy movie, and it's not an easy watch, so I don't see you watching it more than 2 more times. But you're also the kind of, like, your most watched movie you've ever watched probably doesn't exceed 7 times.
That's true. But it's not in the Schindler's List range of seen it once, great movie, will absolutely never watch it again.
No, it's probably more in line with how many times you'd rewatch Kill Bill.
Do you think about this movie often?
No.
Or you kind of forgot about it after the first time you watched it?
I kind of forgot about it after the first time I watched it. The next time you watch it will probably be years down the road, whether we're still doing this podcast or not doing this podcast, and you're just going through old episodes.
I feel like I could definitely watch this with my kids when they're, 18 to 25.
Yeah. And your oldest is what right now?
7.
Yeah, so you have at least 11 years before you watch this again.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
And it'll be they're like, hey, let's have a movie night just around the house, hang out. Let's see what's on. Oh, you guys haven't seen Whiplash.
Yep. That's probably when it'll happen. Man, BJ, you got shit to do.
Yep.
Well, that's a good time to sign off. That was one more question. Should people watch this movie?
Yes, seek it out. Seek it out. This is it's so anybody who's like they don't make original movies anymore. It doesn't get any more original than this.
Agreed. Watch this movie. It's fucking great. 8.5 from me, 9.6 from him. Fucking watch it.
Yep.
I promise this isn't one of those movies where listening to our podcast does it justice.
No. We almost match the intensity in impersonation segments, but that's about it.
Yeah, and by we mean BJ. Well, that's I remember my first time. IRMFT. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Listen to wherever you have podcasts. Start listening, everyone. Help us make some money. This will get so much easier.
Tell other people to listen to it. All we really want to do is just take care of our expenses and pay someone to edit because we hate that shit.
Yeah. If we could just not pay for the recording software, the hosting software, and someone to edit, we'll do this forever.
Yeah, because it's fun.
Yeah. Who doesn't like saying milk the cunt? Who doesn't like saying show me your dick, Michael Douglas? Which the next time we say that, we should... I think it's been long enough that we should probably talk about why we say that. Because
there's got to be people that are so confused.
But you know what? If we start making enough money that we can cover editing and the expenses, you'll be able to hear that shit forever.
That's the goal.
That's the goal.
Until next time, that's us at IRMFT. Bye.
Perfect.